Thank you, Master, for coming to Calgary. When you talk about that we are sitting inside and we are watching a pre-recorded movie, now the way I understand it, that all the forms around me are projected by me, as you are explaining. So there is a difference between my own form and the rest of the form. My own form is connected to my consciousness, but the rest of the forms that are sitting right now here are not connected to their consciousness. In a way, I understand that I am living in my own world, and maybe every other single people, all those souls that separated, they are living in their own world. It just looked like that we are connected, we are seeing each other. Is that right?
A good question. Let me take the example of going to sleep again. You go to sleep and you see 20 people there. Are you connected with them or not?
No.
If you're not connected, when you wake up, where are they? They were so intimately connected, they were your creation. They were not only connected, they were your creation. They did not have an existence apart from that dream. When you woke up, they disappeared. But not all of them disappeared. Some are still around, about whom you are dreaming. Some disappeared, some did not disappear. You saw that they were also along with you when you woke up. Okay, is there a difference between those you saw in the dream, who you still see when you wake up, and those that you saw in the dream were only part of the dream? One might say that you created all, because when you woke up, none was there. A dream was of a single person, not all those people. None of the people there had any consciousness, except the dreamer. Because dreamer created all of them. So when you woke up, you felt all of those people were creation of your own dream, of your own mind, of your own imagination. But then you looked around, the 3-4 people are even here. You dreamt about them. So there were some people in the dream who you did not know. The dream was created by you alone. They all connected with you because your consciousness projected only temporarily for a dream. You woke up, they disappeared. But some were alive, they did not have the same dream. They did not participate in your dream. They had their own things going on in this world. And you said, these people are real, independent. And those people I created were a dream. Now I distinguish between them. There are two kinds of people. One, I created only for the sake of the dream. And some I created in the dream, but they're also there awake. Supposing you were to wake up again now from the physical state, and you find everything disappears. Then you would say, I created all of them. No exception at all. Nobody was living independently except me. And then you find 5-6 people still moving around in the astral plane. You say, well, these are more real, because although all those I saw in the dream, in the wakeful dream also disappeared, at least these 4 or 5 are still there. Then supposing you wake up again. Supposing this is a series of dreams within a dream within a dream, you keep on waking up. And when you awake next, you find a couple of people are still there. You created all the rest. At the end you find that only one is still awake with you, and that was your master, and all else were created during the process of dreaming. Then you wake up finally and say, Master, I was the master also. How would you like that sequence of waking? Would you like it? Or would you feel sorry for it? Would you feel sorry that you missed all these people in the dreams? Or would you feel great that you discovered how all those people were created? There is no difference between this example I've given and the actual creation that has taken place. At every level of experience, it looks like those we have created have independent consciousness. It looks like they're all operating independently just like us. Why do we feel like that? Because we ourselves are not aware of who we are. We are taking that body at that level as ourselves. And that is why we think we are all separate from each other. Right now in the physical body, we are thinking every other body is separate. They operate separately. They operate exactly. Some are brighter than us. Some are richer than us. Some are poorer than us. There's so much distinction. It can't be they are all projection of this. None of them is a projection of this body. None of them are being projected by this body. They are being projected by the same body by which this body of mine is being projected. So when we wake up, we discover which body projected all of them, including the body that you thought was yours. Going back to the dream, when you go to a dream, you don't use this body at all. You become unaware of this body. You create a new dream body. You walk about the dream body. All those who look real are looking real in relation to the dream body, not this. That dream body thinks they are all real. Not only thinks they are all real, if there is an intuitive feeling in the dream body, is it really all me that I heard once? Or are they really separate? You will ask them, are you all real? They say, of course we are. Is this world real? They will all say, yes, it is real. Don't you see? We are all telling you. You can't be hallucinating that we are unreal. We are all real. And then you wake up. The whole conversation is unreal. It's all part of the dream. So the same way, when we awaken ourselves to a higher level of consciousness, at every level we find our real form that was creating was not the form that was participating in the dream. Therefore, our physical bodies are characters in the same dream, which we created from a higher level. And over here, if you want to say, are you separate? Yeah, they are all separate as part of the dream. The script provides that the number of actors grows in large numbers with every dream we have. Therefore, the one which was the only true self was only one, single, total consciousness, never divided, never split, remained total, even today, at all times, even no time, always remained one. That consciousness had dream within itself. It can't dream outside. When we dream within ourselves, not outside. There is no outside. The outside is created for the sake of the dream. In the same way, the single consciousness created all the levels of different dreams, dream states, one after the other. But can you remember your wakeful self when you're dreaming? Supposing you say, I am now going to sleep and I am going to remember who I am awake. The dream will remain unreal. When will it become real? When you forget who your physical body is. Therefore, to create the levels of real experience, not create shows only, but to create shows which look absolutely real, you will forget who you really are and become a dream body. You wake up, you discover it was your dream. Nobody else was there. You created all. This process goes on right to the top till you discover there was only one. And that was who? The self. Was it yourself or that self? There was no that self. All that self, including yourself, is created from the self. The self is the reality, and all other things that we create are created within that self. There is no outside. Now, what happens during meditation, deep meditation? You're able to go from stage to stage. You are able to shut off one level of reality and open up another. We cannot live in two realities at the same time. When we go to dream state, if we remember the wakeful state also, the dream will not look real at all. If you can even remember who you are awake, where you are sleeping, which bed you are sleeping on, and now you're dreaming, it will never become real. When you forget where you are sleeping, where your body is, dream becomes real. It's the same process continuously, that at one time we live only in one state of consciousness, in one level of reality. Right now, as I talk to you, the physical level of reality is the only reality for us. We do not see anything else. We die. Dream is unreal. We went to sleep, we remember dreams. We can't remember anything higher. We go to higher, we remember the lower dreams, we can't remember anything higher. We wake up further, every time we remember the lower dreams, not the higher ones. But the reality is only one. Whichever level from which we are remembering our dreams seems to be the only real one. So, this is the process of creating reality. When we talk of creation, remember the creation took place in many phases, and the most important phase was to make the show look absolute real, as if nothing else exists beside it. This element of reality was infused into the show by many means. One of the means was to forget from where it was created. The other means was to make our knowledge of consistencies of reality by using perceptions at the same level. I want to know, is this glass of water real? Oh, it looks real. But maybe I'm just by eyesight. No, I can touch it. Even the water is real. Why? Because I matched one sense perception against another to make reality, without realizing that this was merely a means to create reality. The means of creating reality was to put different sense perceptions to match each other. If that is not enough, to create a projected reality to verify for us. I can ask somebody of you, I can ask you, are we all real? Are you sure you are not dreaming? Say, no, we are not. Good. I have experience with my sense perceptions. I have experienced by contacting you, checking with people. It's real. I wake up, neither the glass is there, nor you are there, nor anybody else is there. Another world is there, more awakened people. It's the same level that we... Now, even with high meditation that people do, they only stay in one level of reality, which in a way is not a very good thing. Because supposing you go and have an astral experience or an astral dream. Some people think it's an astral dream. When they wake up, it fades so fast. It just fades away. All dreams seem to fade away very quickly. You say, I know I was there, very real thing. It's something very real. But then when you are saying it is very real, you are still taking this as real. The level at which you are at one time looks like the only reality. When you have a lower reality like a dream and wake up, the dream becomes unreal, this becomes real. When you have a higher reality, an experience of higher reality and come back here, because the higher reality was experienced only as part of a definite exercise in the physical. Awakening, now I'll explain to you how that also happens. When you awaken during the sleep state, you know that you woke up because you went to sleep, it was time to get up, or the alarm went off. Something triggered your wakefulness. What about waking from here? We can say, I'll do meditation and wake up. We remain in the body all the time. We don't wake up. If we woke up, the whole thing will disappear as a dream. We are doing meditation. We have an experience. We see a wakeful state. Yet, we quickly come back to this body. Say, I had a great experience. As if I am still real. And that was just a great experience. That great experience does not destroy this reality. Because I am having that experience while still here. It's just a trigger that I was woken up for a few seconds or few minutes and looked like I saw something and I'm back here. Then this becomes real again. And that becomes almost dreamlike, but a very vivid, lucid dream. We say it was a very lucid dream. It was so vivid that I think that is more real than this. When you say more real than this, that you're taking this as real also. How do we trigger? Now imagine, a person is sleeping and another neighbor of his sitting next to him, not sleeping. The person who's sleeping is having a dream. He's dreaming that he's taking his horses into the barn. He's taking horses to his house. He's holding the 2 horses in his hand. And this man wants to wake him up because he's awake. The awake person is now tugging at this man, giving a nudge. Get up, get up. The man is looking at the horses and he's half asleep now because of the nudge given. When the nudge is given, he is half awake and he says, what about my horses? And the man who is awake knows that he's just dreaming. There are no horses. He says, don't worry, I'll hold your horses. And the man wakes up. Does he ask, where are my horses? No, he did in a half-sleep state say, who will take care of my horses? And the awakened man, knowing there are no horses, says, I will take care of your horses. And he wakes up, there are no horses. But why did he say? Did he say, you deceived me by saying you'll take care of my horses? No, because the man who tugged him, who gave him a little push to wake him up, was awake. And he knew that the process of taking care of his horses in his dream was only to wake him up. When perfect living masters come into our life, they are awake, more awake than we are. They give us a nudge, we take care of our worldly things. They say, okay, we'll take care of it. And they participate in the dream, and then we wake up, there are no worldly things. And we don't blame them. Why did you say you take our worldly things? Because they've shown us the awakened state. These are remarkable levels of consciousness that are operating. And the beauty is that each one has been made real. We did not create illusions. We created realities. We did not create levels of illusions. We created levels of realities. Each one looks more real than the other. If a good sadhu, a good meditator is able to do these things, can he guide us? He can guide us to some extent. Because when he comes back, he becomes equally real and knows this reality. But he remembers some of that. Therefore he says, there is a state we are. But he's not talking like he is real or others are real. He's doing more than that. But he can't be real or unreal at all levels, except one level, the top. When you reach the top, you discover all levels were created as one single pattern. It was not that different levels were created one after the other. There was no after. That the whole show took place at one go is only known in our true home, totality of consciousness, in Sachkhand. Whoever has reached Sachkhand knows all levels at all times, and not that he has to go somewhere to find out. These perfect living masters come amongst us and they talk like they have to check something, they're participating in our dreams. At all times they know all levels and all are unreal and all are real. How can all be unreal? Because they are unreal, they are being projected. They are not real in the sense that they have to be externally created. They are being created from internal. So therefore, in a way, they are not real. But experience is absolutely real. The experience being absolutely real, that we can create by projecting an illusion and make it a real experience, that's creation. That we have created levels of reality and all of us experience only one level, except perfect living masters who experience all levels as reality and unreality at the same time. Therefore, you go to a man who's enlightened to the higher degree. He will give you experience of his knowledge, how he could go in, but he'll be like you. He'll experience the same thing you are experiencing, except he has remembered, he has kept hold of some of the experiences which took place, which itself is enlightenment. But if you go to a perfect living master, he talks to you from all levels, and he remains with you at all levels. When a perfect living master initiates us or gives us Naam, he does not say, okay, I have taught you the way, now you go, which any other teacher will do. He says, we have become permanent friends. We will be together forever. There will be no moment when we will not be together. We will be together at every level, till ultimately you discover that you and I are one. We will be together till that point. You will discover it was your show or my show or their show, which is all one. This is the path of the perfect living masters that go up. So that is why when we are here, we think they are all individual, having separate consciousnesses. It's our experience. It's the experience of the one that is sleeping, not the experience of the physical body that we are talking. You cannot say that all these people are being projected by you sitting there, because you are sitting there in a dream. But you are projecting all of them and yourself from where you are sleeping, which you don't know. But you can awaken to it. Somebody is giving you a tug which makes you wake up. And when you wake up, you discover this reality.
Can you give me one?
Whoever gets initiated is promised that. Guaranteed. It's not a vague promise. It's a guaranteed promise which has never been broken. This one promise, that two parts of it. One, I will be with you and be your friend forever, is never broken. That I will be with you at every step of the journey, never broken. I will be with you whenever you wake up, I'll still be there. Others may disappear. Will never be broken. So that's a very big thing. According to me, there is no greater event in life than getting initiation from a perfect living master. I can't compare any other event equal to that. I look back, so many things. You can win lotteries, you can do so many things, you can have strange experiences, you can go to a sudden experience of heavens and all. Nothing matches the experience of being accepted and initiated by a perfect living master, who operates at all times from true home and all other homes that we have created. That kind of person. There's nothing like it. So that promise is inevitable. It's part of the whole creation. Now I might tell you, supposing we were in our true home, why did we come here? Why did we come to a place with so much cruelty, so much unhappiness, so much misery, and to be tied down into a cycle of birth and rebirth and never being able to escape? To create a law of karma in which we get ourselves tied up. It's like tying yourself in a rope and not being able to get out. How could we, in our entire totality of consciousness, be so stupid to do this? Why did we do it? There has to be some good reason. There has to be some best reason, not good reason. Why did we do it? The reason was two things. One, in our totality, we knew whatever we create is only illusion. One good advantage, we'll make it look real. Actually, it's illusion. One good advantage, so that when we wake up, we'll say, thank God it was a dream. Second, that even if that dream is not good, we should carry something in the dream to be able to wake up when we like. When we had enough adventure in new types of creation, like new worlds, we should be able to wake up. There was a movie somebody recommended to me called Inception. Anybody seen that? Oh, Inception. In that movie, they show that they go into dream states and carry a little totem in their hand to be able to wake up. And that has a little piercing point in it, if you noticed. And when they press that in their palm, in a dream, they wake up from the pain. Do you know, when we have dreams, and in a dream, we feel that we are going to be hit by a car accident. When the car is almost hitting us, we wake up. Do you know, in the dreams we have, when we are falling from a building, before we really fall and hurt ourselves, we wake up. Have you noticed that in the dreams you have in the physical world, that when you are drowning in water, when the water comes right above you, you don't drown, you wake up. The concept has been used to some extent in that movie called Inception, that there are some events which in the dream trigger wakefulness. That's a good system, that we should create an event at some certain point in our dreams. If we are totality of consciousness, the creator of the whole show, and we went into these states of dreams, we must carry some little totem to be able to wake up if we are tired of the dream, if it is too messy, if it is too hurtful, if it is making us too unhappy. We did that. What was the totem? The totem was to create a human being like ourselves, like a friend, coming up and saying, wake up. And while he says wake up, he also, in a higher state, nudges us, which means we made arrangement to nudge ourselves. That's the purpose, that we not only got into series of great experiences, but we also made arrangements to wake up. It's our arrangement. It's not a perfect living master comes into our life and we think he has come to help us. No, we are helping ourselves. We made this arrangement before the whole creation took place. So that's one good thing. Another thing, according to me, in an intellectual guy, it doesn't satisfy me, this answer. It doesn't satisfy me that why should I have to create unhappiness? Why should I create misery and create so much bloodshed? Things, terrible things. Why should I create that? Couldn't I create a better experience? I could have just created some heavens and gone back. What made me think that I should create this all unnecessary negativity? The answer is, if we don't see negativity, when will we appreciate positivity? If we don't see something opposite, how do we appreciate? Do you know, in the United States, a rich boy committed murder. He killed people and he has been given 30 days prison because they say he was suffering from too much family riches. It's a true case, just happened. That he did not know what murder and what these things are. He lived such a luxurious life with his parents. They are multi-billionaires and therefore excuse him. Supposing we were always in a state of eternal bliss, we won't even know what bliss is. The nature of consciousness is that we experience things in pairs of opposites. And when there was no opposite at all, in our original state there was no opposite at all, we could experience not even our state of bliss. Therefore, when we created the opposite of what we had, and we went back and found the opposite was real, and the real, what we created negative was unreal, we appreciated our own true state more. And nothing is better for consciousness but to appreciate itself. And we created negativity in order to have this experience. We made it as worse as we could to make that as better as we could. So therefore, so long as we did by illusion, we didn't mind. And that's exactly what we did. That's why it's been created like this. And then we followed up this principle at every level of creation. In this physical plane, do you know we don't experience anything unless there is an opposite? Supposing, I give you an example, there's a light in this room. Supposing this light was always there, whether you close your eyes or open your eyes, or you're sleeping or awake, this light is always there. You never see it. Nobody would have ever seen it. Nobody would have ever experienced it. Darkness came and light became such a wonderful thing. If there was no unhappiness, people would not know what happiness is. Everything, dark and bright, everything is in pairs of opposites. The world that we are experiencing is a world of duality, world of twos, pairs, opposites. And the opposites that are giving us the real experience, both good and bad. Good and bad, also opposites. Moral, immoral, also opposites. This whole experience is taking place because of pairs of opposites. But how could we create opposites in an original state where there was no opposite? We created the opposite by illusion, by creation. And therefore the creation has all these features that you see. If you want to see the perfection of this creation, go back home. You see the perfection of this creation at all levels. And come down to any one level, it's imperfect. Every single level is imperfect and totality is perfect. So the way these perfect living masters come and give us this whole process within our awareness, within our knowledge, within our actual experience, that this is how the whole thing is happening, makes the whole thing perfect. And therefore, a certain kind of thing comes which is always giving happiness, called contentment. Santok, contentment. We feel contented because things are happening as planned. Things are happening which is exactly what should. I remember when I was very young, I got initiated a little early, young, but I used to have a lot of questions from my master. And one day, I thought I should ask a question from my master. Master, I said, I have a feeling if I was the creator, I could have done a little better job. I think most of us would have that feeling, that if we were the creators of everything, which presumably we are now, we realize we are, we could have done a better job. He says, okay, I'll let you have one glimpse to see. Tell me where you will make a change. I'm confessing to you. One glimpse was enough to tell me I could make no change. Just put in perfection. We have to see the total. See the big picture to understand what it is. If you take a painting, a nice painting, and look at that painting square by square, little inch by inch by inch, and say, I don't think I could make some improvement on this painting. And then you withdraw and look at the painting. It's perfect. We try to see life and creation, piece by piece, day by day, minute by minute, here and there. We have created so many breakups, all imperfect. When we put them all together, they're perfect. Go and see it. Now, the whole challenge is that, is this a philosophy? Is it just a conjecture? Just a speculation? It might be like this? Or is it something that can be actually experienced by somebody? Now, I am telling you, it can be experienced by anybody. All of us can experience. this potential for experiencing, we placed in ourselves before creation was made. The potential to know the total, to know reality, we placed inside ourselves from the beginning. And that is why we have the arrangement by which we made. If we seek inside, which is not seeking of the mind, seeking of the soul. There's a difference in the seeking of the mind and seeking of the soul. The mind seeks through thinking. The soul does not use thinking. The mind uses speaking. The soul does not use speaking. The mind thinks in language. The soul does not use language. The seeking of the soul is an inner seeking. It's something missing, something we feel missing, and no words can describe it. And that seeking is what is responsible for us finding. So that seeking of the soul, we all have, but we have drowned it because our adventure is not complete. We are still looking for happiness, looking for joy, looking for pleasure, looking for thrills outside. We created the outside to have these experiences and coupled them with experience of pain and suffering and disappointments to match and make the experience of pleasure better than the pain. To make these things balanced, we did this. And we created forms of life which was all suffering. And we created forms of life which were all pleasure. It didn't help us much. We created forms where this sensitivity of consciousness went down to a level where we were hardly aware of what's going on. We became trees and plants. Hardly aware. Very low degree of sensitivity of consciousness. We became insects, reptiles, birds, mammals, animals, and got gradually different kind of experiences. It did not satisfy us. Tied down too much to single experience with no free will, with no decision making, no feeling I am the creator, I'm just suffering in creation. We became angels, gods, and rulers and creators of universes. No benefit, because we knew everything that's happening. No thrill, no mystery. Then we created one form in which we didn't know anything, thought we knew everything. Human form. Then we became human beings. He said, now we have to make our own destiny. Forgetting we already made it. Now we'll make our destiny, moment by moment, every time we'll make our destiny. And we began to make our destiny and tried to work in a law which we created at the mental level before we became human being, called a law of karma. Law of karma, to create experiences which should follow three laws. There should be time, there should be space, and there should be cause and effect. That's the law of karma. To create time, space, and cause and effect was the law. It's a mental law. We made the mental law and placed all our experiences in this mental law. Of there being time, past, present, and future, we are operating here in this great law, and everything must happen through cause and effect. Everything happens, we should be able to see what is the cause. Any cause takes place, we should see what is the effect. Beautiful. Looks so good. The way we design these principles look really very creative, very artful. We created these and placed these, and then we created another principle, morality, good and bad. This is good, this is bad. And we set up institutions around us. Other people, institutions, religions telling us what is good and what is bad, so that we should do good and feel happy. I'm done a good thing. And do bad and feel guilt. Why did I do that? And having set up that model for ourselves of good and bad, then we said cause and effect. If you do good, you must get a reward. I caused good, so I must have a reward. I did bad, I must be punished. Reward and punishment got built into the system of karma which we created, so that we could be rewarded for good and punished for bad, and we began to get both. Then we used different forms to reward or punish ourselves. That if we did good all the time, we went to heavens. This place was no good for us. If we did bad, go to hell all the time. And what if we mix up the two? Then we become human. Do you know human life is a mixture of good and bad? If it's all good, you can't be human. If it's all bad, you can't be human. The other place is meant for that. We built it up. But we built up a human life with good and bad. And that was great, because in this state of a human life, you were able to place the use of free will and make decisions and look at reality from a different point of view altogether. We played instinctive roles in all other forms of life on the physical plane. We played an instinctive pre-programmed role in our dreams. We played a role of knowledge of the whole script in higher levels of consciousness. The only level in the entire history of creation from the top to the bottom was one level of a physical plane of existence in a human being, where we could say, we don't know, we have to make a choice, we don't know what will happen tomorrow, let's decide what we have to do. Do you know this kind of decision making takes place nowhere else except in a human life? And therefore, we put the best bet on getting back to all knowledge through this human body. And the human body having all this thing now, we created this thing as matching the same will that matches the Creator's will. Because the Creator, which is our total self made the whole show. How? With one will. What are we doing? Participating and making our decisions here with what we think is our free will. It has to fit in with the Creator's will. It does. Always fits. So people began to talk in this physical world of two wills. Are you living in God's will or your will? Not knowing it's the same. Not knowing you're just participating in the grand will. But then what's the difference? Because then we created an instrument, the most beautiful instrument, the most wonderful, called the human mind. The human mind thinks. So we operated our will through the human mind and began to think the mind must decide which is good or bad, which is desirable, not desirable, and began to make decisions through the mind. Thus, for our own purposes, distinguishing ourselves from God's will and our will, which we consider was mental will. So the two wills began to play in our life, which were all illusion. But they played the mind's will and total God's will. People began to look, I want to live in God's will. I didn't know what his God's will is. I know what I think in my mind, that is my will. I decide every day. But what about God's will? One of the mystics, Rumi, Jalaluddin Rumi, Maulana Rum, in one of his Masnavis, in his poem says, people come to me and say, we want to know what is Allah's will, what is God's will. I tell them, so simple. If he has given you a spade in your hand, he has expressed his will, dig. If he has given a pen in your hand, he has expressed his will, write. He has expressed his will in all the circumstances created around you. If you don't use this so-called free will, but go with coincidences, circumstances, what comes around, and do it, you are living in God's will. They gave a very simple message, that we could very easily do what I first learned when I came to America, go with the flow. This was the most common phrase, go with the flow. And nobody understood what they were telling me. That go with the flow means don't use your mind too much. If you start deciding you're not going with the flow. Where is the flow? All around you. Your circumstances, where you are born, where you are living, what your job is, where destiny is moving you, where Prabhupada is taking you, is all showing where the flow is. Go with that. Don't defy it. Don't try to think too much about it. And you will be going with the flow. And you'll be living in God's will. So this was a very strange system set up in order to distinguish between a mental seeking through thoughts, intellectual seeking to understand, and a seeking of the soul, which did not require any of these in order to go back home. So the seeking of the soul, so long as it was not made an effective part of our awareness because of the absorption of the mind and the senses and the body in looking for our own satisfactions outside, we did not become true seekers and were not ready. When we had enough And we said, this is enough. I have had both good and bad, it's enough. I am done with this. And the soul is now seeking, and the mind is not interfering. We become ready for waking up to highest level of state. And that's when a perfect living master appears in our life. And appears coincidentally, appears by chance. Sometimes we are not even thinking where he will appear. We are seeking all our life in one direction and appear from another. But when he appears, his unconditional love pulls us. We say, this is what I was waiting for. If a strange feeling comes in our soul, which even overwhelms the mind is still doubting. And the inner self is saying, this is what I was waiting for. And the mind says, no, you are misleading yourself. But it's too strong a pull. Can't help it. That's how it works. It's a beautiful message. I'm sorry I gave another lecture on one question of yours. Okay, we'll have a break.